Isaiah 7 through 9. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the king of Israel, went up to Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. When it was reported to the house of David, saying, Syria is allied with Ephraim, his heart trembled, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the forest trembled with the wind. And Yahweh said to Isaiah, Go out now to meet Ahaz, you and Shear-Jashub, your son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, on the highway of the fuller's field. Tell him, Be careful and keep calm. Do not be afraid, neither let your heart be faint because of the two tails of smoking torches, for the fierce anger of Rezin and Syria, and of the son of Remaliah, because Syria, Ephraim, the son of Remaliah, have plotted evil against you, saying, Let us go up against Judah, and tear it apart, and let us divide it among ourselves, and set up a king within it, even the son of Tabel. This is what Adonai Yahweh says. It shall not stand, neither shall it happen. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. Within 65 years, Ephraim shall be broken in pieces, so that it shall not be a people. The head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Ramallah's son. If you will not believe, surely you could not be established. Again Yahweh spoke again to Ahaz, saying, Ask Yahweh your God for a sign, from the depth of Sheol, or for the heights of heaven. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, and I will not test Yahweh. He said, Listen now, house of David. It is not enough for you to try the patience of men, that you will try the patience of my God also? Therefore Adonai himself will give you a sign. Behold, the maiden will conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. He shall eat curds and honey, when he knows to refuse the evil and choose the good. But before the child knows to refuse the evil or choose the good, the land whose two kings you abhor shall be forsaken. Yahweh will bring on you and your people and on your father's house days that have not come. From the day of Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. In that day that Yahweh will whistle for the fly that is in the uttermost parts of the river of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria, they shall come and shall all rest in the desolate valleys, in the clefts of the rock, on all thorn hedges, and on all pastures. In that day Adonai will shave with a razor that is hired in the parts beyond the river, even with the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. It shall happen in that day that a man shall keep alive a young cow and the two sheep. It shall happen that because of the abundance of milk which they shall give, he shall eat butter. For everyone will eat butter and honey that is left within the land. It will happen in that day that every place where there were 1,000 vines, at 1,000 silver shekels, shall be for briars and thorns. People will go there with arrows and with bow, because all the land will be briars and thorns. All the hills will be cultivated with the hoe. You shall not come there for fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending out of an ox, and for sheep to tread on. Yahweh said to me, Take a large tablet and write on it common script for Mer Shalal Hash Baz, and I will take for myself faithful witnesses to testify, Uriah the Kohen, and Zechariah the son of Jerebekiah, I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. Then Yahweh said to me, Call his name Mahar-shalal-hash-baz. For before the child knows to say, My father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the plunder of Samaria will be carried away by the king of Assyria. Again Yahweh spoke to me, saying, Because this people has refused the waters of Shiloh that go softly, and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son. Now therefore, behold, Adonai brings upon them the mighty floodwaters of the river, and the king of Assyria in all his glory. It will come up over all its channels and go over all its banks. It will sweep onward into Judah. It will overflow and pass through. It will reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of its wings will fill the width of your land, Emmanuel. Make an uproar, you peoples, and be broken in pieces. Listen, all you from far countries. Dress for battle and be shattered. Dress for battle and be shattered. Take counsel together, and it will be brought to nothing. Speak the word, and it will not stand, for God is with us. Yahweh spoke this to me with a strong hand, and instructed me not to walk in the way of the people, saying, Do not say a conspiracy concerning all this which this people say a conspiracy, neither fear their threats nor be terrorized. Adonai Tzvaot is who you must respect as holy. He is the one who you must fear. He is the one you must dread. He will be a sanctuary, but for both houses of Israel. He will be a stumbling stone and a rock that makes them fall. For the people of Jerusalem, he will be a trap and a snare. Many will stumble over it, fall, be broken, be snared, and be captured. Wrap up the covenant, seal the Torah among the disciples. I will wait for Yahweh, who hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, and the children whom Yahweh has given me are for signs and wonders in Israel from Adonai Tzvaot, who dwells in Mount Zion. When they tell you, consult the mediums and wizards, who chirp and mutter, should not a people inquire their God? Should they consult the dead on behalf of the living, to Torah and to testimony? If you do not speak according to this word, surely there is no mourning for them. And they will pass. They will pass through it, very distressed and hungry. And it will happen that when they are hungry, they will worry, and curse by their king and by their God, and look upward. And they will look to the earth, and behold, trouble and darkness, the gloom and anguish, and they will be driven into darkness. But there shall be no more gloom. For her who was in anguish in the former time, he brought into content the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the latter time he has made it glorious, by the way of the sea, on the side of the Jordan, Galilee of nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwell in the land of the shadow of death, on them a light has dawned. You have multiplied the nation, you have increased their joy. They rejoice before you, according to the joy in the harvest, as men rejoice when they divide the plunder. For the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as in the day of Midian. For all the armor of the armed man is a noisy battle, and the garments rolled in blood, and by the burning fuel for the fire. For a child is born to us, a child is given to us, and the government will be on his shoulders. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of Shalom there shall be no end, on the throne of David, on his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from the time on, ever forever. The zeal of Adonai Tzvaot will accomplish this. Adonai sent a word unto Jacob, and it falls on Israel. All the people will know, including Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, who say in pride and arrogance of heart, The bricks have fallen, but we will build up cut stone. The sycamore fig trees have been cut down. but we will place cedars in their place. Therefore Yahweh will set up on high against him the adversaries of reason, and will stir up his enemies, the Syrians in front and the Philistines behind, and they will devour Israel with open mouth. For all this his anger is not turned away, and his hand is stretched out still. Yet the people have not turned to him who struck them, neither have they sought Adonai Tzvaot. Therefore Yahweh will cut off from Israel head and tail, palm and branch, reed, in one day. The elder and the honorable man is the head, and the prophet who teaches lies is the tail. And those who lead this people lead them astray, and those who are led by them are destroyed. Therefore Adonai will not rejoice over their young men, neither will he have compassion on their fatherless and widows, for everyone is profane and an evildoer, and every mouth speaks folly. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is outstretched still. For wickedness burns like fire, it devours the briars and thorns, yet it kindles in thickets of the forest, and they roll upward in a column of smoke. But the wrath of Adonai Tzvaot, the land is burned up, and the people are the fuel for the fire. No one spares his brother. One will devour on the right hand and be hungry, and he will eat on the left hand, and they will not be satisfied. Everyone will eat the flesh of his own arm. Manasseh devours Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh. Together they are against Judah. For all this his anger is not turned away, and his hand is stretched out still.